What exactly is Taehyung doing at Jungkook's house? Why did Jungkook's mother suddenly speak up and say Hybe can no longer cover it up? This truth not only shook Jungkook's family but also left the army speechless. Hybe was shocked. Jungkook's mother opens up about Taehyung and her son. What really happened in the house? Is this the end of the closeness that the army has been proud of? Why did Jungkook's mother suddenly reveal something that made Hybe have to rush to intervene? Who exactly is the Taehyung behind the camera that we all know as a calm, polite, and loving man? Is there something that has been hidden all this time, even from Jungkook himself? All these questions exploded together like an unstoppable time grenade. Starting from a simple incident that takes place behind the closed doors of the John family home, the story turns into an emotional drama full of surprises, disappointments, and tensions that rush like an unstoppable stream. On that seemingly ordinary day, Taehyung is seen entering Jungkook's house with a warm smile and an elegantly wrapped gift bouquet. Nothing unusual. Nothing unusual. But who would have thought that, behind such a seemingly sweet moment, a single incident would be hidden that would turn everything upside down? What did Taehyung do in Jungkook's living room to make his mother feel that something was wrong? Is it true that the gift he gave Jungkook's brother holds a suspicious hidden meaning? Jungkook's mother, who has rarely been involved in her son's public affairs, suddenly appeared with a shocking statement. His voice trembled. His expression was hard to read. But one sentence that came out of his mouth immediately left the reporters and even Hybe's staff speechless. I didn't expect Taehyung to be able to do this in my own house. The sentence instantly became a storm on the internet. The hashtags #ProtectJungkook and #TaehyungScandal immediately soared in just a matter of hours. What does the mother really mean? Is this just a misunderstanding, or is there a darker truth that has never been revealed before? Several inside sources who declined to be named said that Hybe immediately held an emergency meeting after Jungkook's mother's statement went viral on social media. More than one major Korean media outlet began to quietly drop the news, apparently waiting for an official clarification that until now had not been given. But what was most surprising was not only Jungkook's mother's suddenly very open attitude about this, but also Taehyung's expression that was caught on camera a few hours after the news circulated. His eyes were red. His face was pale. And what made netizens really wonder? Why does he look like a person who lost control after the meeting? Is it possible Taehyung feels betrayed? Or is it that he realizes that his actions, which may seem small to outsiders, have touched something very sensitive in his own best friend's family? According to unofficial news from a stylist who had handled them, the tension between Taehyung and Jungkook had started to feel since a few weeks before this incident. They are rarely seen together, no longer performing as well as they used to. Even some of the army began to wonder, is the iconic friendship of Taehyung on the verge of collapse? And now, when the mother finally intervened, all the questions were no longer limited to speculation. The chronology of the incident begins when Taehyung comes to Jungkook's house with a special gift for Jungkook's older brother who has just celebrated his birthday. According to the neighbor's confession, Taehyung came with a radiant face, carrying a luxurious box that looked expensive and exclusive. However, for some reason, after the gift was opened, the mother's expression immediately changed drastically. Does the contents of the box contain a hidden message? Or does it have something to do with your family's past? Even stranger, after receiving the gift, Jungkook's older brother is seen avoiding eye contact with Taehyung. A few minutes later, Jungkook's mother allegedly called Taehyung to the kitchen in private. And that's the turning point. According to someone who was in the house at the time of the incident, their conversation was brief, but very intense. There were no screams, but the tone of the mother's voice was very firm, and Taehyung came out of the kitchen with a different face, blank, confused, and even a little bitter. Hybe himself, in a very brief statement, said only, "We are verifying the veracity of the information circulating and ask the public not to spread speculation." But what do they really want to hide? Do they know something they don't disclose to the public? One of Jungkook's former household staff also said that Jungkook's mother was very protective of her son's environment. He is known to be very sensitive and does not easily believe it. So if he makes such a strong statement, it is worth asking, is this just a misunderstanding? Or is there an old wound that opens again? Meanwhile, fans were divided. Some defended Taehyung, calling this just an incident magnified by the media. But some others began to feel that there was something that had not been shown in front of the camera. Emotional comments flooded HYB's every new post, with even wild theories emerging that the relationship between John and Kim's families had long since cracked. Even more surprising, after the incident, Jungkook himself was not seen doing public activities as usual. He canceled the scheduled live broadcast and left only one short message on Weverse. "There are things I want to explain, but it's not time yet." What does that sentence mean? Does he want to protect his friend, or is he preparing for a more painful truth? Not a few fans have begun to connect the hiddenness of the two's relationship so far. Some have mentioned that there are times when Taehyung looks very emotional whenever he is near Jungkook's family. Is it a sign that there is a deeper personal dynamic than just a friendly relationship? Now, the big question is not just about who's right and who's wrong, but also, why did this happen when BTS's relationship was considered to be in the most fragile period after the conscriptions separated them one by one? Will it be a hard-to-heal wound in family relationships and friendships behind BTS's big name? Or will it open a new chapter that is much more honest and real for the public who have only seen the outside of their idols? Clearly, one thing is certain. When a mother chooses to talk, the world must stop and listen. And in this case, Jungkook's mom just made the K-pop world hold its breath. Is it really just a gift? Or is it really just a splash point of a huge, long-buried iceberg? The question continues to hang around, especially when some pieces of old videos start circulating again on social media. One of them comes from a moment in 2022 when BTS did a casual interview after their big concert in America. In the video, there is a suspicious interaction between Taehyung and Jungkook, who at that time seemed to be subtly straining. Now, with the events taking place at Jungkook's family home, fans are starting to look back at the clip from a different angle. Some said, "We used to think they were just tired." But now, Jungkook's gaze at that time felt like saving something. Meanwhile, media investigations began to hunt down the trail Taehyung left that day. He arrived at Jungkook's house at 14:07, carrying only one gift box, and left at around 15:43, longer than expected. In fact, his visit was called just to give a little surprise. But why is it more than an hour and a half? Eyewitnesses around the neighborhood of the house called. The sound of discussion was heard from behind the window. Not to the point of screaming, but clearly there was a note of tension. And shortly after, Taehyung came out with a quick step and a downcast face. He was even seen holding a cell phone and calling someone with a restless hand gesture. Shortly after the event, Jungkook's mother's Weverse account, which is rarely active, wrote something surprising. "I want to believe in a person's heart, but what if his small act touches a wound that I have long buried?" These words reignited speculation. What does old wounds mean? Is it related to your family's past? Or did something ever happen between Taehyung and the rest of the family? Fans began to look for a connection between current events and events of the past. One theory is that Taehyung's gift, said to be an old, highly personal book, has a direct connection to Jungkook's father's past, which has long been out of the media spotlight. According to an unofficial source from one of the administrators of the fan community in Busan, the book is said to be a reprint edition of Jungkook's father's favorite literary journal as a young man. But there was a handwritten note in it that for some reason ignited the anger of the mother. Is the writing personal? Are there any memories that are reopened without the permission of the family? The mystery deepens when HYB begins to take things to the extreme, removing some old videos of interactions between Taehyung and the Jungkook family from the official YouTube channel. Not only that, the cut of the episode Run BTS featuring Taehyung's closeness in the family room was also suddenly unavailable, and it only reinforces the public's suspicion that something is being hidden. The question is, why did HYB panic? Do they know anything that could threaten the good image of their two members? Or do they just want to prevent media noise from making things worse? In an online discussion forum that was crowded with fans, an anonymous person who claimed to be a former BTS schedule coordination staff appeared. He wrote, "What happened at Jungkook's house was not just a misunderstanding. There is a very intense emotional communication." And Belly. The night was quiet, not as usual. The John family's house, which is in a quiet area on the outskirts of Busan, suddenly feels like it is in the middle of a whirlwind. The house lights were still on well past midnight, and Jungkook's bedroom windows were tightly shut, as if the world were being locked from the outside. None of the media were allowed to approach, and all the usually friendly neighbors suddenly closed in and reluctant to answer questions. But the atmosphere in the virtual world is much noisier. Online forums are flooded with theories. X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, to Instagram Reels are full of reaction content. The international fanbase began translating Korean news stories and putting them together like a puzzle, trying to understand what was really going on. And amid the chaos, a blurry photo, taken from a distance, shows what is believed to be Jungkook's mother talking on the porch with someone who looks very familiar, Hybe's senior manager. The figure looked tense, his hands clenched in front of his chest, while Jungkook's mother appeared to be pointing towards the gift box placed on a small table. The meeting did not last long. But the fact that Hybe's manager came in person that very night is enough to make the public ask, what exactly does the gift consist of? And why does Hybe seem so involved? Some netizens suspect that the contents of the box are not just a sentimental object, but something more personal. Maybe a photo, a letter, or even an item related to the past that they do not want to open again. It has been speculated that Jungkook's brother had a close friendship with someone who had personal conflicts with Taehyung in the past. Is it possible that the gift is a form of reminder of this? While most of the public was busy speculating, a former vocal coach who had worked with BTS in the pre-debut days surprisingly made a comment through his personal account, which was immediately deleted minutes later. But as usual, netizens have already taken screenshots, he wrote. Taehyung has a very deep heart, but sometimes he doesn't know which old wounds shouldn't be touched. I hope this does not destroy the trust built over the years. The comment was heartbreaking. Does this mean that Taehyung has good intentions, but is mistaken in his ways? Or is there really a dark past that has been buried so deeply and unknowingly dug up again by small actions? Back on social media, many fans started calling for new hashtags. Hashtag SpeakUpJK and hashtag ProtectV. One side urges Jungkook to clarify, while the other side wants Taehyung not to be made a scapegoat in this internal drama. Some fan-made videos even began to create a narrative as if this was a game of Hybe to cover up another, bigger scandal. And speaking of Hybe, they finally released a very cautious and ambiguous official statement. We respect the privacy of each member and his family. The situation that is currently circulating is not a public issue. We ask all parties not to spread unverified information. But precisely with that statement, the fire is getting bigger, because if there really is nothing, why ask the public to stop discussing it? Why not clear Taehyung's name from all the prejudices that continue to circulate? Are they protecting something or someone? In a radio broadcast, a well-known Korean announcer even subtly quipped, "In the entertainment world, sometimes silence is louder than scandal, but a mother's heart never lies." That sentence instantly became a viral quote, and for the first time in years, ARMY's fandom appears completely divided. Even the international community began to criticize Hybe's overly closed and defensive attitude, especially since it concerned two of her most beloved figures, Jungkook and Taehyung. But the storm has not stopped. The next day, Media Dispatch released an exclusive report complete with additional photos. They confirmed that the gift Taehyung gave them was an antique wooden box containing a handwritten letter. The letter, based on an analysis of the writing, is believed to be from Jungkook's late father's best friend, who was once part of their family's dark history. The letter has not been released, but it has been described as having a deeply emotional, personal narrative that fuels old traumas. John's family, especially Jungkook's mother, did not know that the letter was still in storage and, moreover, were not told in advance that it would be given to her son. So, it is not surprising that the reaction of the mother was so harsh and shocking. But the public asked again, where did Taehyung get the letter from? Why did he keep it? And what is the motive behind the gift? Some speculated that Taehyung got it from a private reunion show he attended secretly a few weeks earlier, where he met one of the John family's old acquaintances. If so, then that means Taehyung had planned this gift long before that day. I asked this an act of respect or a reminder of something unfinished, and did Jungkook know of the plan? Even more heartbreaking, rumors surfaced that Jungkook had begged his mother not to extend the matter to the media, but to no avail. Some sources say that Jungkook's mother felt betrayed not only by Taehyung, but also by Hybe, who had been too devoted